Objects may float or sink in water. Children, we have seen this experiment so many times. We know if you put something, if it floats, then the object floats. If it's heavy, it will sink. Then we say the object sinks. Okay? Move ahead. While doing activity 4, you might have noticed that the insoluble solids, this is important, children, the insoluble solids separated out from water. Yeah, if it is soluble, it will nicely be dissolved, right? You won't be able to see. But if it is insoluble, you will be able to see that they are separated from the water, right? They get separated out, means they can't get dissolved. So you may have also noticed this with some liquids, right? In activity 5, some liquids, they just float on the water. Some liquids sink in the water, right? Some of these materials that did not mix with water floated to the surface of water. Others may have sunk to the bottom of the tumbler, right? So if you put something in the water and they do not get mixed or dissolved, so they will remain either floating or they will sink, right? We notice many examples of objects that float or sink. Dried fallen on the surface of the pond. Yeah, we see dried leaves that are fallen, they float, right? A stone that you throw in this pond. What happened when you throw the stone in the pond? What happened? Tell me. Do they float or they sink? So as soon as you put the stone into the water, it drops. It just disappears, right? So the stones that you throw into the water, into the pond, what happened? What happened to the stone? They just sink it into that. Few drops of honey that you let fall into the glass of water. What happens to all of these? Yeah, here you can see in the activity figure 4.6, lot of objects are there in the water. Can you see? There are I think it's eraser, leaves, ball, then keys, coins. All these objects are put into the water, and then they see that some of them are floating, right, and some are sunk. So they are floating, yeah, and they are not floating, they are sunk, yeah. So some float and some sink. So here they are floated and here they are sunk, yeah. So we say they are some sinks and some float. So here they are already sunk, so we say sunken, yeah. Moving ahead, children, what happens to all of these? Bujo would like you to give him 5 examples of each, of objects that float and those that sink in water. What about testing these same materials to see if they float or sink in other liquids like oil? Okay, so you can check with some other liquid also. So here we are done with the floating part, children. We'll move to the next property called transparency.